Welcome to the call today. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're going to talk about a topic that I'm very passionate about, and that is giving you, as a breeder, 3 ways that you can make additional income without getting another job this year. So you're going to discover in this call how you can make up for lost time. When life just gets in your way, things happen, it all goes sideways, and everything is careening out of control. We're going to show you how to make up for the lost time and start to rebuild wealth again, even in the middle of all the life that's happening to you, because it just does. It happens to all of us. We're going to help you amid all of this, create some massive financial relief. And I'm going to tell you how I actually fell on my face a few times and still earned a 5-figure check every single month, even when I could not work or breed dogs. We're also going to show you how to get out of that cycle of just barely getting by. I've worked with a lot of breeders, and the most common thing I hear from these hardworking people is that they want financial freedom so that they can just have time freedom. That's the most important thing to them, and to do life in ways that's most dear to their hearts. But most of the time, they don't think it's possible because of the load and the type of work that's involved with dog and cat breeding. So that's a big concern I hear with these thousands of breeders that we work with. Who is this call for? I'm going to get right to the point because nobody wants to stick around and listen to meaningless information if it's not for them. So I'm just going to get right down to the point. So, if you are sick of the financial rug that's being pulled out from under you all the time, then this call is for you. Also, if you're making good money, but you can't seem to get ahead no matter how much more you make, well, this call is for you. If you're freaked out about retirement and you don't have assets set aside, you really don't have anything going for you when it comes to retirement, then this call is very much for you. How about this? If you're panicking about how in the world you're going to afford to send your kids to college, or even what you're going to do when they're out of the house, we call that the emptiness syndrome. As for us, we're worried that our two will never achieve adulthood independence. Either way, that's the season that we're in, and it's actually starting to happen to me right now. Well, if you're in that category, this call is for you. You definitely want to hear this out. Also, if you're in the category of you just want your own money and to be able to say and do what you want to do with it, then this call is for you as well. So here's my promise. I'm going to show you how to get caught up financially as a breeder without getting another job, without some pie in the sky, make money quick deal, and without going back to school. I want to get real with you. And the reality is, mostly due to finances, like financial pressure that's on so many couples right now, divorce is a real issue. It's like all marriages, or 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Also, because of financial pressures on families and their marriages, a lot of this is happening too. Outsourced careers. People having to go find other places to work, other things to do. Even a friend of mine, her husband had to move 6 hours away for his full-time job just so he could support his family. And that's a raw reality. Also, the recessions that have hit us in the last few years, people have lost half of their assets. People who are sending their kids to school and have these looming loans that you don't know anyway how in any way you're going to pay them back, and that's the one loan you can't get out from under. That's a big reality. And of course, this crazy economy It's just going to do what it's going to do, and that's all pretty scary. And also, this is a reality. No extra cash to get ahead. So many families are in that boat. And what I call the oh no fund, you actually don't even have it when the oh no hits the fan. You don't have the money set aside when things go sideways. And that's a very big reality. And it's even worse than that. There are families out there with no possibility of owning their own home, or they think they don't. So they have to rent. And that's a sore reality too right now. So what are you going to do with your life? You might be asking yourself that question. And you might be saying, well, I cannot actually cut even $1 from my budget. And I'm also tired of taking cheap family vacations. They aren't memorable to me. I don't want my kids with those kinds of memories. That's all I was ever able to give them. And I'm definitely over the whole couponing thing. It might have worked when I was first married, but who's got time for that now? So, does it all leave you feeling trapped with no way out? The biggest problem right now, and what I hear from other pet professionals that are in my age, is that time is ticking. It's getting closer and closer to retirement. And many of us who have had friends that have died of cancer or are dying of cancer, heart attacks, and I just don't want to get too morbid here. Maybe you lost a spouse. I'm just so sorry, and that's horrible. And you as a person cannot rely on, I've got plenty of time. You just can't rely on that anymore. So the government obviously is not going to take care of you either. It's only going to get worse. And in our age range, we all have this one worry. Will Social Security even be there when I get to 65? That's a big deal. So does your stomach flip when you think about your retirement? Just sit there and marinate on that for a moment. Are you in a position where you're pretty comfortable? Your education has taken you to an executive income status? Probably not. If you're listening to this video, you're at this point here. After all of you pay your bills, do you have any money to spare? That's a good question to ask yourself. And can your emergency fund take care of you for months without worry? Now, there's a big panic button here. If you're listening to those questions and you feel like pressing that button, you're in the right place. This call is for you, and this is what we're going to be talking about. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Stephanie Cook. I started my breeding program in 2017. I breed Irish setters. As a stay-at-home mom, I was wanting to be home and be present with my two kids. That was a goal of mine. I always wanted to homeschool and be with them. Um, but both of my children, or our children, as my husband would correct me, are on the autism spectrum. So we had heard that dog breeding was a way to make a significant income working from home. So we made the investment. We bought puppies, and it took a couple years for them to grow up and finally have a litter. And that was pretty exciting. I'm like, wow, profit mode now. But I quickly discovered that in our industry is that even though you can make good money in our industry, there's also a very high overhead. A lot of cost goes into raising dogs if you're a breeder and if you're doing it the right way. So there's also a high risk of losing everything you've built, literally overnight, because things can go sideways. Mother Nature's definitely in charge. When you're a breeder, you're not in charge. Mother Nature is. But I'm really thankful I learned a big secret that helped me completely avoid the pitfalls that come with our industry. And I would be in a big financial disaster today if I hadn't learned that secret. So when it comes to taking times off, I've actually tapped into a secret, which I'm going to talk about today. And through that big secret, I'm super thankful that when I needed to take time off and tend to life's problems, I was able to do so. It happens if you have a family, if you're in a family, it happens to all of us. But I was able to continue earning five-figure checks month after month, even though I wasn't breeding or raising litters. Now, have you heard about the Gen X effect? Well, the Gen X is my generation. Your generation, probably, if you're listening to this call. We are a special generation. We made it. We've seen it all. We made it all. We lost it all. We started over time and time again. We reinvented ourselves because we are resourceful. And now is the time to do what we want to do. So just be encouraged as you're listening to this. And maybe you've gotten your heart rate up thinking, oh my goodness, I'm really in a situation here and I need to figure a way out. Well, you have what it takes. I want to encourage you that way. You've come from that generation and you've figured it out. We'll figure it out together. And you're right in the right place with the solution that's going to help you. So we all want financial safety and security. We want to learn how to make up for lost time because time is ticking. It's not going any slower. In fact, it's going faster and faster every day. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. So, after getting hit by two recessions, we also had some major life events. My husband became unable to work and eventually became a 100% disabled veteran. Our children, which we had late in life, we were 35 and 40 when they were born, they were both diagnosed with autism. So I needed to be home with all of them. So I needed to figure something out to rebuild and secure our finances. So I'm going to share with you some things I've learned. First, there are two types of incomes. Number one is the money that you earn right now, like going out and get a job. That wasn't necessarily an option as a stay-at-home mom. Number two is residual income, and that's like making money while you're sleeping. In each of these ways, I'm going to give you my pros and cons that I discovered in my research, and also now versus later income opportunities. So let's go over the options together. The first thing I looked at was investing in stocks. Some of these things I kind of like your breeding program. There's a lot of risk that comes with the territory. The pros are though you can start with a little bit of cash, but it should be extra money, spare cash that you can experiment with. Because it doesn't matter if you can't afford to lose it. Well, that was a problem for me because I didn't have cash that I could afford to lose. Pros, the pros of the stock market is that you can get big enough. There's substantial dividends that come with the residuals. So people are making a lot of money when it comes to stocks. You can buy and sell. The buying and selling is the now money. You can get money in your fingertips right away if you know how to do some of the things. The pros of the stock market is getting into that. The cons, there's a risk of loss. Just like when I explained early, you can lose your shorts immediately. There's a huge learning curve with stocks and making money in the stocks, and you need a trusted advisor, and those are pretty hard to find. A friend of mine was actually had all her eggs in that basket, and she had a trusted advisor, but some mistakes were made, and she literally lost $100,000 overnight because she didn't get the right advice. So for me, that just wasn't an option. The second thing I looked at was real estate, because there were a lot of people making a lot of money in real estate. But then I realized it takes ten to $20,000 upfront investment to even get your foot in the door. And with investing in real estate and even learning about it and being successful with it. Pros, yeah, you can make a lot of money, residual money with rentals or whatnot, and you can buy and sell and make a lot of money playing the big market. But also, another big pro is that you have tangible investments that you can call your own, and that really helps a lot. The cons, well, you can definitely lose your shirt in real estate, and that scared me to death thinking about making such a big investment and hoping it would work. The other thing was the learning curve. It totally overwhelmed me. I had a family I was taking care of and just too much going on. It was not something for me. Besides, you need a mentor, and those are super hard to find. The third thing I looked at was starting a new business, and that was another option. So I looked into four types of business. Number one was a franchise. Again, big money investment to do that franchise. Now you can make the money bringing it in and eventually earn a residual on autopilot. But two, a big investment, and that scared me. And of course, you have to deal with all the corporate limitations. The other thing I looked at was a home based business. Now, that is income that you can bring in right now while you need while you're in your financial straits. Also, the money can be build up and be residual, and it can build pretty fast. It's like a particular like in this particular business, you can quit your job in less than a year. So I looked at that. The other thing I looked at was a brick and mortar. Again, we're dealing with huge investments from the locale to the inventory, and everything seems to be going online. And the fourth type was affiliate marketing, like Amazon, which was pretty complicated. Amazon, eBay. I even tried it. I followed some mighty gurus and paid for classes, and it just never worked to be financially profitable for me. And it was always boxes of stuff I was having to shuffle. And then I eventually learned it takes about 5 to 8 years to really get good at it. So I chose a home based business because this was the fastest and most direct way out of our financial state that we were in. It provided me with time flexibility. I can increase my own raises whenever I wanted a raise. I could set my own hours, work from home, and when I'm done working, I put it away for the day and I go have fun with my kids. And I could also directly help other people, which I'm actually very passionate about. And even more than that, we got to travel to new places. Now, up till now, my kids have not been emotionally able to go out of the country and do exotic trips. So we've gone to Disney World frequently. My son especially loves NASCAR and IndyCar, so we hit Talladega twice a year. The things that are important to them. Some rock climbing trips and just adventures all the way around. And also, it gives me the time to spend with my husband. That's something that's very important to me is having that quality time, helping my kids achieve their goals. Even though they're on the autism spectrum, they do have goals and great skills. My daughter is an amazing horseback trail riding girl. Um, and so this is giving me the family time that I would not have had if I had gone and chosen a different path. So you're thinking, wait a minute, Stephanie, wait a minute. I've done this before and it hasn't worked. I could get one of those consolation prizes for the biggest failure when it comes to doing home business. Well, maybe you're saying, well, it hasn't worked for my friends either. Well, you're right. Most people do fail in this industry. There's crazy limited markets out there, like fingernail stickers, or the next exotic miracle, or a miracle cure, or some opportunities that are just super labor intensive. They don't have any proven strategies. Also, those startup companies, many of those home-based business go under in the first year. That's a concern. The biggest one here is, though, never being professionally trained. So I hear you. You're right. 90% of all businesses fail because of the lack of proper training and support. So with what I'm going to show you today, there's a strategic training. There are simple systems, actually, that are proven systems that I have used over and over again with professionals within the pet industry, such as yourself. And we've gotten proven leadership and correct actions to take that are simple, duplicatable, and are designed to help you succeed. And this is what I was plugged into right from the start from my working at home business. So the question is this right for you? Now, like I said, a lot of people do fail because they were set up to do so. Probably unknowingly. It just didn't have the right tools in their hands. Now, creating a six-figure income without getting another job is completely possible. I want to assure you that. There are two ways you can go about it. Number one, you can try to figure it out all by yourself, lose more time, lose money, possibly fail at this all. Or number two, you can get helpful, you can get help from someone who has already done it and prepared to help you. So you have a choice. There are several options. Here you have several doors you could go through. So here's how I can help. I've set aside time next week to speak to you personally about fixing your current reality versus staying stuck for the rest of your life. It's a free consultation session that you can have with me where I'm going to take a look at your current scenario, where we're going to dissect it just to see what we can do to come alongside with you. Number one, increase profitability with what you're currently doing. Number two, to kind of like free up some time for you because you might be feeling really, really stuck. Like, where am I going to find the time to be able to create some extra income? So I'm going to spend time with you. We're going to look at all of that. It's a completely free consultation, and I'm looking forward to coming alongside with you. And who is this for? Well, if you're looking at having a consultation session with me, I want to make sure that you're really qualified to spend 45 minutes. And this is for who I'm looking for. Number one, you must be committed to shaking things up and making big changes. Number two, you must be willing to invest in yourself, super hungry, teachable, and you must know how you've got to have more. You also know this is going to work for you. Also, you need to be really serious about doing it in the right way. I'm committed to no failure. We don't want you to fail. So this is not going to be just about jumping in to get rich quick gimmick. or looking for the next big thing. This is not at all going to be what we're going to talk about. Also, you must be willing to get off your feet and get moving. And the question is to ask yourself, how much of this is costing your sanity to stay where you are? Now, is your marriage or your partnership suffering? Do you want to be traveling more and have the ability to do that? Now, what about your debt? Is that knocking you down and suffocating you? How about your kids? They're growing up and you're just not there. You're not present because of the time capacity. And all the constraints that are on you take care of everything else. And your kids, they're just missing out on doing life with them. How's that going for you? Also, can you live anywhere you choose to live right now? Is that an option for you? Probably not. And the last question I'm going to ask you is, will it cost you and your family to be in the same situation you're in right now, 10 years from now? I mean, what's the price you're going to have to pay if you stay stuck? That's a real valid question to ask yourself. So, how much longer are you going to wait to step into the life you deserve or want? Reality check. You really need to decide for yourself here, you listening to the call. So the reality check is this. The average lifespan is 78. And where are you in relation to this? The time is ticking. It's ticking for all of us. And if we don't fix this, you're only going to have one shot or it's kaput for you. And how many people do you know are in that phase of life and the time nearing expiration's coming soon? They have no legacy for their children, their family, and their future. That's a reality check. So, where are you in relation to this? You need to ask yourself that honest question. So, let's lay out a plan so you can be the one in charge of your time, of your bank account, and rise out of the ashes for good once and for all. How cool would that be to actually finally succeed at what you put your heart and hand into? Finally get the results you need in your life right now. So, the next step is to click the button next to the video. Let's get this fixed as soon as possible. We want to help you like we've helped so many other breeders and pet professionals. Here is one testimony I wanted to share in closing. This is one of the breeders we've helped on my team, Chad and Christy from Ohio. Um, Through this home-based opportunity, they've been able to retire, sell their breeding program, and they're living the life they want in their beautiful new vineyard they bought in the Czech Republic, all because of this amazing opportunity. My team was able to give them this opportunity on a silver platter, and it was given to me as well. So, next steps for you is to click the button next to the video. It's going to take you to Facebook Messenger where you and I can connect. I ask you a bunch of questions about your life and what you've gone through and where you want to go. So please tell me as much as possible so I can determine if I can help you and if this is something you're looking for in your life and in your program right now. So if you've had the financial rug pulled out from under you too many times, for whatever reason, no matter how hard you work on your program and you just can't seem to get ahead, we need to talk ASAP. Especially if you want financial independence where you're not going to be depending on anyone else to take care of you when you retire. Now, this may or may not be for you. We need to connect to determine this. So click the button next to the video and let's get the ball rolling right in the right direction. So many breeders are making good income, but they're unhappy because it's just a treadmill for them. It's unfulfilling and it's pulling them away from their family time. There are ways to earn an additional income without doing more of the same. But first, we need to talk. So I'm looking to partner with a few top breeders so we can lock arms and achieve our goals together. This isn't one of those things that you're going to get to do later because 99% of the people who leave this tab open to come back to later never do. Then what happens? After 6 months, a year, 5 years go by and there's no change. So you will be stuck in that same life that you have today 1 year from now if you don't make the change. And a quick question as we're closing, did you achieve the goals you set out to accomplish on New Year's Eve? Let's talk. Click the button next to the video and let's chat ASAP. I usually check my messages a few times a day, so I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for spending time with me here today and have a great rest of your day.